They thought they had you figured out, thought they could predict your every move, keep you small, keep you contained. They built walls around you, brick by brick, expectation by expectation, feeding you the lie that this was all you were meant to be. But they never realized, storms don't obey boundaries. They don't yield to fences, don't bow to cages, don't tremble in the face of control. And you are the storm they never prepared for. They were ready for compliance, for silence, for you to shrink beneath the weight of their words. They weren't ready for the fire burning beneath your skin, the electricity coiling in your veins, the unstoppable force of everything you were always meant to become. They mistook your patience for passivity. They mistook your stillness for surrender. But they didn't see what was brewing inside you. The gathering power, the quiet revolution, the inevitable reckoning that was never a matter of if, but when. You were never weak. That was the lie they whispered in your ear from the moment you dared to dream beyond the borders they set for you. You were never invisible. That was the illusion they fed you, hoping you'd believe it, hoping you'd stay in the shadows where they could forget you, where they wouldn't have to face what happens when someone like you refuses to be ignored. You were never meant to be caged, never meant to be just another obedient whisper in a world that only listens to the loud. No, you were meant to thunder. You were meant to crash through expectations, to shatter every rule that told you to stay in line, to rip through the sky with the force of everything they said you'd never be. You are not a gentle breeze. You are not a passing wind. You are the storm, and the world is not ready for you. That was never your concern. They told you to wait, told you to be patient, to be careful, to be small. They told you your time would come, that if you played by the rules, if you were good enough, quiet enough, agreeable enough, maybe, just maybe, you'd get your chance. But here's the truth. Your time was never something they were going to hand you. They built the game so you would never win. They wrote the script so you would never be the hero. They stacked the odds so you would always doubt, always hesitate, always wonder if maybe they were right about you. They weren't, because deep down, beneath all the noise, beneath all the years of being told who you were supposed to be, you've always known, haven't you? That fire in your gut, that pull in your chest, that voice inside you that refused to die. It was never a mistake. It was never something to smother, never something to be ashamed of. It was the first sign of the storm that's been waiting to break free. And now it's too late for them. They can pretend they don't hear the thunder rolling in the distance, can try to ignore the way the wind is shifting, the way the air is charged with something they can't quite name. But they know. Oh, they know. Something is coming, something unstoppable, something undeniable. You are the reckoning they never saw coming. You are the consequence of every lie they ever told you, every time they tried to suppress you, every moment they made you feel like you weren't enough. You are the backlash, the counterforce, the living proof that they never had the power to define you. This is your awakening. No more waiting, no more permission, no more playing small just to make them comfortable. The storm is here, and it's not just passing through. It's tearing down everything that was never meant to stand in its way. Let them brace themselves, let them scramble, let them run, let them try to hold on to the illusion that they ever had control. Because the truth is, they never built a fortress strong enough to hold you. And now, they will have no choice but to face you. They don't know what it's like to carry the weight you do, to wake up every day with a war inside your mind, a war you never asked for, but have been forced to fight. They don't see the silent battles, the ones that happen in the dead of night when the world is asleep and the only voice you hear is the one whispering that you are not enough. They don't hear the echoes of every time you were made to feel small, of every moment you doubted your worth, of every time you let yourself believe that maybe, just maybe, the world was right about you. This war isn't fought with swords or guns. No one announces its beginning. No one declares a victor. But make no mistake, it is a war waged inside your own head, in the quiet moments, in the spaces between who you are and who they told you to be. It is the war of self-doubt, of fear, of every single lie they planted inside you, hoping you'd let them take root. It started early, didn't it? Before you even knew the world was something you had to fight against. Before you realized that people don't always mean what they say, that sometimes the ones who are supposed to protect you are the very ones who try to break you. They told you who you were before you had a chance to decide for yourself. They handed you a script and expected you to follow it without question. Be this, do that. Don't step too far outside the lines. Don't dream too big. Don't think you're special. You were never meant to be free. Because freedom is dangerous. Freedom means power. And they couldn't afford for you to realize how much power you truly hold. So they built your cage out of expectations, shaped the bars from the words they knew would sink deepest. You're not enough. You're not worthy. You're too much. You're not what we wanted. And the worst part? You believed them. Not at first. No, at first you fought, at first you pushed back, raised your voice, refused to be silenced. But they were relentless, weren't they? Every time you stood up, they knocked you back down. Every time you dared to dream, they laughed, reminded you of your place. It was exhausting, wasn't it? Fighting a battle where the enemy was everywhere, on their tongues, in their eyes, woven into the fabric of the world around you. So you got quiet. Not because they were right, not because you gave up, but because it was easier. Easier to stay inside the lines, easier to be what they wanted, to let them believe they had won. Because at some point, survival felt more important than truth. But something inside you never died. Something inside you never surrendered. Even when you silenced your own voice, even when you buried your dreams, even when you told yourself that maybe this was all there was, something inside you refused to be extinguished. A spark, a whisper, a quiet, trembling thing, waiting. Because storms don't announce themselves. They don't come with warnings, don't ask permission to exist. They form in silence, in the spaces no one is watching, in the depths no one thinks to look. And while they were busy convincing themselves that you had been broken, that you had been tamed, something was shifting inside you. They don't see you coming, they don't hear the rumble beneath your skin, but they will. Because this war, it was never about them. It was never about their approval, their acceptance, their permission. The real battle has always been between you and you. Between the version of yourself they created and the version of yourself that refuses to die. And now it's time to decide. Do you keep carrying their lies like they are truth? Do you keep shrinking, keep apologizing for the space you take up, keep convincing yourself that this is all you were meant for? Or do you step into the storm that has been waiting to break free because they were never ready for what's coming, but you were born for it? There was a moment when you thought this was it, when the weight became too much, when every step forward felt like sinking deeper into the abyss. You reached out, but no one came. You screamed into the void, but the silence swallowed your voice whole. The betrayal stung, the abandonment cut deeper than any blade, and for the first time, you questioned if you even had the strength to keep going. You weren't just tired, you were drained, emptied, hollowed out by the endless war between who you are and who the world told you to be. You gave and you gave and you gave, until there was nothing left. Until the mirror reflected a stranger, until the voice inside you was too faint to hear, until the only thing that felt real was the ache in your chest and the fear whispering, "This is the end." They don't talk about this part, do they? The part where the fighter collapses, the part where the light dims, the part where the ones who swore they'd stand by you vanish like shadows at dawn. They tell stories of resilience, of rising, of triumph, but they never tell you what it feels like to be buried beneath the weight of your own existence. They don't tell you about the nights where the silence is so loud it drowns out everything else, where the walls close in and you wonder if you'll ever find your way back to yourself. Because this darkness, it doesn't come all at once. It seeps in, slow and insidious, wrapping around you like a whisper, like a promise, like a false sense of comfort. It convinces you that this is where you belong, that fighting is futile, that hope is a fool's game. It tells you to surrender, to stop trying, to stop believing. And the worst part? You almost do. You almost make peace with the idea that you were never meant to rise. Almost convince yourself that they were right about you all along. Almost let go of the fire that once burned so fiercely inside you. Because how much can one soul take? How many times can you rebuild before the pieces no longer fit? The night swallowed you whole. The silence screamed in your ears. And you almost made peace with being forgotten. But the truth is, you were never weak. They made you believe that strength was measured by how unshaken you remained, by how well you hid the bruises, by how quickly you silenced your own pain. But real strength is enduring the storm, even when it rages inside you. Real strength is shattering, but still finding a way to put yourself back together. Real strength is being lost, being broken, being buried, and still choosing to rise. You are not done, you are not finished. This darkness is not the end. It is only the waiting, the gathering, the silent preparation for something greater than they ever imagined. They thought they had seen the last of you, but they were wrong. Something shifts. It's subtle at first, a flicker in the darkness, a whisper beneath the noise, a feeling you can't quite name, but it's there, undeniable, unrelenting, a quiet defiance that refuses to die. It doesn't matter how much they tried to break you. It doesn't matter how many times they told you who you were supposed to be. Somewhere, buried beneath the weight of their words, beneath the chains they wrapped around your mind, something has been waiting. What if the storm was always inside you? What if you were never broken, just buried? What if every moment of pain, every betrayal, every tear, every wound wasn't proof of your weakness, but a sign of your power. They made you believe you were powerless, but what if that was the greatest lie of all? Because suddenly you see it, the truth, clear and sharp, cutting through the fog. You were never waiting for permission. You were waiting to remember. Remember who you were before the world told you who to be. Remember the fire in your chest before they poured their doubt over it. Remember the way you used to dream before they convinced you to settle for less. They built a system designed to keep you small, to make you doubt your own voice, to strip you of the belief that you had any control over your own destiny. But the truth is, they never had the final say. Not your past, not your pain, not the people who tried to reduce you to nothing. Because pain is not a prison, it is fuel. Every scar, every loss, every time they counted you out, it all becomes the kindling to something greater. They wanted you to drown, but instead, you rise. They tried to silence you, but storms don't obey commands. They never saw the moment coming. The moment when you stop believing their lies, when you stop apologizing for the space you take up, when you finally understood that everything you need has been inside you all along. This is the turning point. This is the moment when you shift from victim to warrior. When the world doesn't change, but you do. The weight doesn't disappear, but you no longer carry it as if it belongs to you. The storm doesn't ask for permission to exist. It simply becomes. And you are becoming. No more waiting, no more hesitation, no more permission seeking from a world that was never meant to define you. This is the moment of reckoning, the moment you stop asking why me and start declaring watch me. Who told you that you couldn't? Who planted that doubt inside you and convinced you it was your own? Who made you believe that your dreams were too big, that your fire was too wild, that you had to shrink yourself to fit into the spaces they built for you? Who convinced you that you were meant to remain small? Because here's the truth, they lied. They lied when they told you that your worth was conditional, that success belonged to someone else, that your voice wasn't strong enough to shake the foundation of everything they built to keep you caged. Every rule they handed you, every limit they imposed, every whisper of, stay in your place. It was never about keeping you safe. It was about keeping you controlled. But not anymore, because you are not the person they tried to create. You are not the version of yourself that bent beneath their expectations. You are fire. You are fury. You are the force they were never ready for. So burn it down. Burn the false narratives, the lies, the fears, the doubt. Tear apart every excuse you ever clung to. Rewrite the story of your life with flames so high they can never cage you again. And let the world watch. Let them tremble, let them whisper, let them try to convince themselves that they still have power over you, because the world isn't ready for you. But that was never your problem. Everything slows, the chaos, the noise, the relentless pull of everything they told you to be, it all fades. For the first time, you are not running, you are not fighting, you are simply here. This is the eye of the storm, the moment of stillness before everything changes. You have spent your life waiting for permission, waiting for the right time, waiting for someone to tell you it was okay to step into your own power. But now, standing in the calm before the reckoning, you realize the truth. You were never meant to wait. You are no longer asking for permission, no longer seeking validation, no longer bending yourself to fit into a world that was never meant to contain you. The weight of their expectations falls away. The echoes of their doubt grow silent. Because at last, you see it. The only voice that matters is your own. The power of self-definition is yours and yours alone. Not their opinions, not their limitations, not their narrow, fearful understanding of what you are capable of. Just you, your truth, your fire, your storm. This is the moment before impact, the inhale before the roar, the silence before the lightning strikes. You are stepping into who you truly are, and the world has no idea what's coming next. The transformation is complete. The waiting, the hesitation, the fear, they are remnants of a version of you that no longer exists. You have stepped through the fire, weathered the storm within, and now you are the storm. There is no more seeking approval, no more shrinking to fit inside their narrow expectations. The storm does not ask for acceptance. It demands recognition. It does not apologize for its presence, does not whisper for permission to exist. It arrives, it rages, it leaves nothing unchanged. And you are no longer a question, no longer a flicker of uncertainty in the wind. You are the answer. Look at the contrast. Look at who you were. The one who doubted, the one who hesitated, the one who second-guessed their own fire. Look at who you are now. The force, the reckoning, the undeniable power they can no longer ignore. The doubtful whispers of yesterday have been silenced by the roar of certainty today. Excuses? They no longer hold weight. Fear? It has no place here. Hesitation? It died the moment you remembered who you are. Ha! Ha! Everything that tried to keep you small, everything that worked to break you, to silence you, to keep you in a place that never belonged to you, it failed. Because you have risen, because you have awakened, because you are the storm, and the world will never be the same again. This is it, the final moment, the reckoning, the point of no return. Everything you've been through, everything you've endured, every storm you've survived, it has led you here. And now, there is only one question left to answer. What will you do with it? Will you step forward, own your power, claim what has always been yours? Or will you let them write your story for you? Let them reduce you to a footnote in a world that was never meant to define you? You already know the answer, because the chains are broken, the silence is shattered, and the storm has finally arrived. This is the moment where you decide, not tomorrow, not someday, not when the world is ready for you. No, so rise, step into your fire, take what's yours. The time, yes, I want to know who you were. These are your powers. The Elicumbra, Deliana, Delia, Delia, Lady, Delia, Delia, do you.